Greetings, friends. I am OmnusI, here in my lair once more to answer a question from the RPG Brigade of Facebook for their RPG Day Challenge. Today is day 18, and the question is, what is the art that inspires your game? Well, I can tell all of you that, quite honestly, precious little. Now, let me explain. I am not a person who is a huge collector or connoisseur of art. I've been through art criticism classes and things like that, and you know, I'm aware of art. I like art. I may not be able to always tell you everything about art, but I know what I like. And I'm not going to deny that there are some things that I've seen that I've like, okay, I'd like to bring something like this into a game for a shot. I have patronized artists to get me a piece or to buy a piece of their art that I want to use to create a character around, or create a creature around, or use as an illustration for a setting. On occasion, not very, very often. Most recently, I've had the privilege of getting a piece or two from the artist Terry Pavlett, who's very, very talented. And he made me an excellent piece commemorating a scene from the life of the character of my wife that she played once. And, you know, a lot of good things involved there. But, generally, almost all of my stuff comes from up here. And while nothing up here isn't colored somewhat by my other experiences, I should say, I cannot recall any situation where I looked at art and I immediately, that just bloomed. Most of my things came from literature, which is a type of art. You know, books like, you know, Michael Moorcock's Stormbringer series with Elric of Melniboné. Even, you know, going from some Doc E. Smith, old 50s sci-fi, Conan, of course, a lot of the Conan books. But from there on, I generally look at frameworks of games and what other people have done, and that's really where my inspiration has come from. What other people have made game-wise, I'm like, okay, I like that. This is what I'm going to do completely differently. It seemed like a long time ago that games were basically dares of how much farther, how much different you could push games. The classic adventure games that I did of fantasy, it would be very difficult to tell, even though the rules are different, but the themes of, say, Tunnels and Trolls and Dungeons and Dragons and Rollmaster, you know, heroic fantasy. Then you had different genres that came out, but, you know, they were just kind of pushing each other more and more and more, and everything just kind of expanded and expanded and expanded. I'm kind of like to think I'm the same way. I go into designing a new world with, how can I make something that hasn't been done before? How can I take common themes and tropes and turn them on their ear and make something new and different that's uniquely mine? Some would be hard-pressed to say that anything is unique anymore, but I refuse to believe that everything has already been created and we're just respinning things. You know, even in the source of my own personal fiction and things that I've been working on, it's taking snapshots of things and changing them and making them uniquely mine. But most of it happens up here. I don't really turn to art a lot to inspire me. I do like to be able to show my players a good picture that helps their imaginations and be more immersive. Also, you know, whenever I have painted miniatures and other designs, or done 3D handouts and things that I can give my players, you know, it all works towards immersion and helping inspire them. Because one of my principal jobs is to bring them to the point where my imagination is, and the closest I can come to that, then everybody is working in the same world, and then everything gets a little bit more real to them. and their characters can react in a real fashion that's true to the characters, not just what the players are thinking, their interpretation of the world. See, there have been a few times I've trolled through DeviantArt, looked at some of the fine art there. It's amazing. Some of the people who make some fascinating things aren't more well known, but not everybody seeks fame. And honestly, you know, there are plenty of famous artists who have their work there too. And occasionally I'll just, you know, come across something. Oftentimes, some of the Facebook groups that I belong to will have postings, and it'll be like, oh, well, that would be a fun scenario, or that's an interesting challenge, or I bet I could do something with that. So, inspiration is where you take it. I use art more for entertainment or for example than I do for inspiration, but plenty of other people do, and that is very cool. I would generally say, however, the nice thing is, with art in pocket, things that you have on hand that you can show and you can present, enriches your world, patronizes good people who make the stuff, spreads awareness of them. I have a soft spot in my heart for the creators. Sadly, we lose some every year, it seems, but you know, the artists and everything. Every time I go to a convention, I have to get something. I have to give back to these people who've given us such great art and such. And also, you know, art, even if it doesn't inspire me, it draws me to certain games and things. So perhaps that might be another means. You know, included art with a lot of the supplies. In that case, then you could just as easily say that people like Larry Elmore have inspired me as much as reading some of the world notes and books from authors like Gygax and company. So it certainly has helped my imagination crystallize these random statistics into living, breathing beings that I can then portray for my players. So there is certainly that. But anyhow, that's, I think, a pretty good answer for that question. I kind of wish I could hold up something and say, this is the art that inspires me, but my brain just kind of doesn't work that way. It's magpies different things and puts them together and then builds on that, so you'll just have to be satisfied with that for this time. But I am your OmnusI. Always. Thanking you once more for joining me here in the lair, hoping that the next time I pop out into the greater world, you're there to watch. Thank you for your time, and I will be seeing you next time here in the Lair of OmnusI. Farewell.